Hey guys, Tom at TPC here. This evening I'll be rolling the fenders on my 2016 GT3 RS. I never thought I'd be doing this. This car here cost more than my house when I first purchased it. Not the car, the house. But anyway, as you can see here, this is the part that needs to be rolled in. I have done only one track day, and it was not really a track day. I just did one session and I just drove it around at maybe 6 or 7 tenths with old tires on it, and the tire is already chipping away the stock paint. So this part here needs to be rolled in. There's actually a factory Porsche documentation on that, so I'm going to follow the documentation, rolling the fenders on my 200k car. Wish me luck. We have the wheel off with the car on a jack. Part of this factory procedure is to move back this panel. There's a cluster of cables for the rear wheel steering. So here's the rear wheel steering servo. The cables run in here behind this. I don't know how you would rub through this to get to the point where you would touch those cables, but part of the procedure is to modify that cluster. So in event of this rubbing through and the tire starts cutting through here, that it would actually the tire would get cut by the bracket instead of the tire cutting the cable. So this part is not logical to me. According to the bulletin, is how they want it to be modified. So I'm just gonna go along with it, even though I don't quite agree with it, because this is all part of the service bulletin. Okay, so this is what it looks like behind this panel. Here's the cluster of wires. So the top piece here, right here, according to the bulletin, I'm gonna cut the zip tie, fold the bracket forward, and route the cable behind the metal bracket instead of in front of it. So I was explaining earlier, in the event of a tire rub through, instead of the tire destroying the wires, it wants the bracket to destroy the tire instead. So I don't know which is the lesser evil, for the tire to destroy those wires and have the car go out of control, or have a tire blow up to have the car go out of control. So that's why I don't agree with this logic, but I'm just gonna go through the bulletin and follow through with it. All the connectors underneath of it, they stick out far beyond that upper wire loom anyway. So I don't see how this is going to help. Okay, we have the cables loose from the bracket. The next step is to take a pair of pliers and bend this bracket forward towards me approximately 30 degrees. And then once that's bent it over, now there's room behind this bracket for these wires to go behind it. Okay, that looks like approximately 30 degrees to me.
We'll now use these OEM tube and special zip ties to do this mod here as indicated by the bulletin.
Once the sleeve is on, it says to wrap both ends of this sleeve with tape at least 3 times, which I did. So now this is ready to go behind this bracket using the special zip tie. This is it. All I have to do is snip off the excess of this zip tie. And this is what it's supposed to look like. Now that we're done with the wiring modification. The next step to rolling the fenders is to remove the caliper and the rotors, gently rock each one in order for them to come loose without damaging them. See, I can't rock it with the rotor in place because it doesn't allow for this small movement here with the rotor in place. So, yep, that's one right here. 2 down, 3 more to go on this side. All right, this is turning to be quite a bit more work than I expected, as usual. So with each step that I take, I have to take extra steps. For example, normally I wouldn't have to take the rotor off, but I can't get the drive pins out without rocking it. So now with the rotor off, have the drive pins out, there are all these residual Loctite that I have to clean out each hole, get each one perfectly clean before I proceed to the next step. I mean, I could get sloppy and just use some compressed air to blow them off and just slam it back together, but I'm not going to do that. So, you know, this is just going to take more extra time, which is okay. As long as I still have daylight here. It's already 7 p.m. Good thing is summertime, so I have about 2 more hours of daylight to finish this side and go on to the other side. So we have these measurements as per the bulletin, and I have my setup here. So all I need now is heat. Here we go. Just warm it up so the paint doesn't crack. Never thought I'll be doing this on a 200K car. That's enough heat. Second pass. All right, it's doing it. Here are my markers here. Stage 1 completed. Looks good. It started out at this thickness. Now this is rolled in, and I didn't even crack the paint yet. Hopefully it will turn out good the rest of the way and on the other side. It's like 100 degrees outside now at 100% humidity. So I don't think I need to apply too much heat. As is, the paint's already pretty hot to the ambient temperature. That's hot enough. Here we go. Pretty good so far. We're definitely losing the daylight here, but I did get one side done. So I'll be here for a few more hours. Here it is. This is much better than before, and I got it down to 240 millimeters from the sill, which is the center line of the tire, once the car is on the ground. So it actually went a little further than that just to have a little more margin. So this is a lot better than what it was before. I guess I'll be here until midnight to get this done. We have completed the right side. Now we're on to the left side. So having done the first side, now I think I get the logic of the bulletin as far as modifying this cluster of wires here. I think what it's supposed to do is, by routing this upper portion behind this bracket, this will actually move this section of wire further away from the liner. So I think that in the original position, this kind of bows out. It's already probably touching the fender liner here. So in the event of a tire rub through, so maybe, I don't know if you can see this little black mark here, perhaps this little black mark here is just from rubbing against the fender liner to begin with. So if the tire rubs through that, then it will immediately rub through this wire. So by looping this behind the bracket, then this will bring this part back towards the body of the car by, you know, maybe 5 or 6 millimeters, just enough to you know, have that extra clearance. So anyway, I think that this is their logic. So, but they didn't convey this in the document, so this is just my assumption from checking out how everything works and having done the other side. We're approaching midnight. One side done, second side to go. Have the fixture all set up. Same deal as the first side. I had to take the rotor off in order to get the drive pins out because they were locked in there. This side should be easier since I did it 2 hours ago on the opposite side. As you can see here, the tire has already been rubbing. There's rub marks here. So same as the other side, I have the 2 measurements that was indicated by the factory document. So I'm just gonna go to it and start rolling. All right, first run, we have already got this part that previously had the rubber mark on it rolled in. So you can see this is where we started, and this is where we stopped for this pass. So I'm gonna keep going at it. Okay, this is a wrap. It's past midnight. Success. It's rolled all the way, just a little bit past the factory indicated mark, which is 240 millimeters from the sill. That's right here. So we went a little bit past that, so we should be good to go and then have extra margin here. It is so hot and humid. My sweat is like burning my eyeballs. I'm just completely soaked right now, so can't wait to put the rotor and the caliper and the wheels back on and drive home and come to work 5 hours later.